Hi, my name is Erica, and I help people find their direction in life. And I do this by using all of my gifts, including human design, reading human design charts, reading gene keys charts, reading astrology charts, a little bit of energy healing, some empathetic listening, some embodiment techniques. And all of this combined kind of helps my clients and my community find that line between who they think they are and who they really are underneath all of their layers of conditioning. And what is this video? This video is my week ahead transit podcast, forecast, whatever you want to call it, where I basically go over all the things that you need to know for the upcoming week. And this is like on a collective basis, a collective reading for everyone. And I hope that it's helpful. I'm going to try to do some things a little bit differently this time. If you have been with me for a while, you know that I kind of like go on a day by day basis usually, but I feel like that gives me a little bit too much room to ramble about things that aren't as important. And so instead, this week I've made notes kind of like in a bullet point type of way of like what I see as the most important things that everyone should know about with this coming week. I'm hoping that that makes it a little bit easier to follow, short and sweet, to the point, get you going, right? Get you going in the week ahead with all the things that you need to know. So, without any more hoopla, let's go ahead and get into it. So, this week we have Mercury retrograding in Aries. This is going to start today at about 5:15 p.m. Central Time. Now, this Mercury retrograde is going to last until April 25th. In the morning of April 25th, like probably like 8 a.m. ish. And as it's like in its backwards motion, right? So like it has reached like 27 degrees Aries, I believe, 27 degrees Aries, and it's flipping, it's backing that ass up, it's flipping around, and it's going to go all the way back to about 15 degrees Aries, which is where it will conjunct the North Node. So kind of cool. Throughout this time period, it's going to hit, well, first it's going to make a cazimi with the sun, then it's going to hit Chiron, and then it's going to conjunct the North Node and then flip back around again. So this is going to be a wild Mercury retrograde in comparison to other retrogrades. And I think another reason why is because it's like happening during a solar eclipse, and all those conjunctions that it's going to make at the very beginning of the year. It's like a time where we all kind of really want to be hit the pavement running and like get going on some things, but we're kind of we're flipped inside out to be a bit more reflective at this point. Now, keep in mind too that like there's a lot of, the word I'm looking for, like fear mongering, I guess, when it comes to Mercury retrogrades. They're never a bad thing. I will say that, we do tend to, like, it is more likely that we are going to experience disruptions and things that aid us in that like kind of quick type of lifestyle. So, that's why these things happen. Like, that's why a car breaks down or your technology fucks up, or like, I don't know, like you spill juice all over your shirt when you're trying to leave the house in the morning. Like, all of these things happen to kind of just like give you a time to pause, take some deep breaths, slow down, and reflect. Go inward and reflect. Now, in the sign of Aries, it can be a bit more agitating and frustrating. And that agitating energy is honestly going to come up a lot this week. And like I said, when Mercury stations direct, it's going to be conjunct the North Node, and the North Node is in the gate of agitation, right? And that is also where, that's the same gate that all of this solar eclipse energy is happening in. So, like, yes, it's going to feel more agitating. It's going to feel frustrating. You might want to really, especially if like you go look at your natal chart and you don't have Mercury retrograde in your natal chart, like if your Mercury is not retrograde, then you feel the retrogrades a bit more intensely. If your natal Mercury is retrograde, then it's not as intense for you. That's actually, you might actually feel a little bit more like, oh yeah, this is what I'm used to. This is how I'm used to feeling. Like, it actually might feel a little bit more aligned or like smooth, as to where the rest of us feel like we're kind of like going against the grain, right? So yeah, Watch out for that agitation, that frustration. Think before you just blow the hell up on people, try to anyway. But other times, like if you lose your shit and you blow up on someone, I find a lot of the times it was necessary, it was needed. And sometimes anger is needed. Sometimes maybe you need to blow up, have that angry moment, and then reflect. Like, man, why did that piss me off so much? And then you might, find some answers to that. So, when we talk about like attention going out or attention going in, a Mercury retrograde is it more attention going in. It is that thinking, speaking, informative energy turned inward. With it being in Aries, it could also be about like identity things, who am I? Who am I? What is my identity? Who do I want to show up in the world as? Do I need to put myself first? Am I being taken advantage of? Is this fair? Those are all things that you might be asking yourself as well during this time. Okay, so we're going to obviously talk more about this Mercury retrograde as we go forward into future weeks, but I'll leave it at that for now. So, as for the moon, what is the moon doing? The moon is going to be going through the last quarter this week. So, it's in Capricorn right now. It's going to go through Aquarius. It's going to go through Pisces. On the human design side, for my reflectors, this is the quarter of mutation through the quarter of initiation. So we are ending and starting. And there's a really big theme for this anyway with this solar eclipse coming. So it's kind of like, I mean, like literally I want to go off about the eclipse like already, but there is a lot of like ending a chapter to begin a whole new chapter is what we're kind of going through today or this week collectively. And so really take the time to feel out this last quarter of the wheel again, feel out that Capricorn energy of like, what kind of long-term goals do you have? What does success mean to you? What do you want your reputation to be? What is your legacy? Go into Aquarius of like, what kind of future do you want to see for humanity? What kind of like inspiration do you have to give back to your community? How can you form community? And then in Pisces, it's like just the end of it all. How are you spiritually connected? What does it all really mean to you? How can you be more compassionate and forgive? Because come Monday, we really do have a whole new chapter to begin, a whole new story to start. So this week is really all about how you're going to end this one, how you're going to end this story, this timeline. Okay. Also this week, Venus is going to conjunct Neptune. And, this is at the end of Pisces. I'm going to go to this day. There we go. So yeah, you're really going to feel this on Wednesday, a little Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's at the last few degrees of Pisces. And so, one second. Yeah, at the last few degrees of Pisces. And on the human design side of this, Neptune has been in gate 36, which is the gate of crisis. And the shadow is turbulence, the gift is humanity, the city is compassion. And we're in line 6 of that at this point. So that is like role model energy. And I think that it's beautiful because it's kind of like, we as collectively as humanity, we've experienced a lot of crisis. Our entire human history is filled with crisis situations, crisis moments, and we've made it through every single one of them. We've survived through every single thing that we've been through up until this point. Yes, we've lost people along the way. Yes, we paid the price for certain things along the way, but we have become stronger from it. We've evolved as a species, right? And so I think it's like, I think it's like a point where it's like we're not going to stop experiencing turbulence and crisis until we start seeing everyone as a part of our team, you know, that compassion, that forgiveness to like let things go and see why people do the things that they do and understand the pain that someone else has been through and have compassion for that, to see the humanity in other people's eyes, is something that's really coming up. And I find it interesting because it is Venus that's making this conjunction, and Venus belongs in Libra or Taurus, you know, but Venus loves to be in Pisces. And so I feel like it is heightened in a way, you know, when it comes to that, like it's pumped up a little bit here, and then it's pumped up even further by Neptune, and it's really showing us the value of having that humanity, of having that compassion, of holding in, like, I guess holding on to like an energy like that no matter what is going on around us, because I do feel like we are coming into turbulent times. um but I also feel like it's going to be growth moments, and it's going to help us all maybe come together in a different way for some other kind of like unified cause. I don't know. I don't want to be the predictor of the future, and I feel like there's a lot of shitty energy or like fear mongering going on about what's coming. And I don't, even if like, I don't know, I guess it's like goes back into like what's bad, what's good, right? Because even if it's like what a lot of people would deem to be bad, it could be for a good reason, right? Like everything is always happening as it should. So yeah, okay. Sun is also going to conjunct North Node in that gate of shock where the so it's going to start in the gate of shock, right? It's going to move a little bit further into like 20 degrees Aries by the time we get to the solar eclipse. But come Thursday, it is going to make that conjunction to the North Node at about 15 degrees Aries. And so that is gate 51, line one. So line one is like, you know, the informer or the creator or like the beginner of this like particular energy. And this is the gate of shock where the shadow is agitation, and the gift is initiative or initiation, you know, into like awakening. And I feel like that's going to be the theme of this coming week and into the solar eclipse, is like, you know, living in a state of agitation, you can constantly like project that outwards, like this is pissing me off and that is pissing me off, and this issue is never going to get fixed, and it's just pissing, you know, like the things that kind of just like bubble, that just sit there and bubble, and you're just kind of always in this state of just like sometimes it, the point of this is that sometimes it takes something big, something shocking, something to kind of just like click you out of that bubbling place and go like, fuck, I need to change this, I need to take action on this. Like you're awakened to what is agitating you, to what you need to do next. I love this for us. Honestly, like I think that we're also pulling into our intuition with all of this energy as well. So, like, while there might be a lot of like shocking, distracting, kind of like ooh, ah things going on in the media space or in the news landscape, it's kind of like, okay, but what can you do? What can you actually do? What do you actually have control over in your life? What can you actually influence in your life? How can you listen to your inner knowing? Like, are you going to be distracted and believe everything that is going on? Or is that inner knowing, that inner intuition, that connection with spirit going to guide you into these new things? Venus is also going to enter Aries on Thursday night. So after that conjunction to Neptune, Venus is going to make a whole new start in the opposite sign. So like that's interesting too, is that Venus is going to enter its opposite sign. It likes to be in Libra, you know, so it's not a big fan of being in Aries, and it's even throwing a bigger baby fit about that after being in Pisces, where it liked to be. Just gonna like fall into Aries and be like, you know, do I have to? But it does, right? So like Venus is also getting kind of like a wake up call, like yeah, this might be something that you value. Yes, you might need teamwork, you might need other people to help you pull this off, but like also you got to put yourself first. Like there's value in being selfish. Sometimes there's value in taking time to work on yourself before you can be a good member of a team. You know, like maybe there is some type of like, again, Mercury being here, some kind of like reflection that you need to do so you can start actually like functioning in society, functioning as a team with the right kind of people, surrounding yourself with people that kind of like help initiate you, help you start a new thing. Because you know, like that's the thing, is that like it takes like in like momentum to get out of inertia, right? So like it takes a push. Like that's kind of the message of Mars, is like it takes that like spark of energy to get going on something. And if either you're kind of being the weight or other people are being the weight to you, kind of holding back that motion, that push, that initiation, right? Like who is kind of like dragging you backwards or making it, because it's like, I guess what I'm saying is like it's already hard enough to kind of get the motor going. If someone else is kind of like, you know, oh, I don't really want to go, it's like even harder to get that motor going for yourself. And you could be doing that to other people as well, right? Like maybe someone else is really trying to get going with something and you're kind of just like, I don't really want to, you know? So it is a time to also kind of like look at that realistically with yourself and the people around you. Okay. And then Sunday, we have the dark moon before the new moon solar eclipse. The new moon solar eclipse is going to be occurring at Monday at 1:21 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be the sun, Chiron, the moon, all together, 20 degrees Aries, the gate of shock, while Mercury's retrograde. And its ruling planet Mars is going to be conjunct Saturn and Pisces. So, like I said, there's like a lot going on at the very end of the wheel and a lot going on at the very beginning of the wheel. They're kind of tying. It's like you really got to end something to start something, etc. It's karmic. This type of energy is going to last us for the next like 6 months until the next eclipse season in the fall. It's also just like a time of progress I'm seeing, because it's like very future oriented. We have Pluto in Aquarius now. You know, the next eclipse season, it's going to be kind of slowly retrograding back into Capricorn, right? So like at that point, we're going to really be letting go of more like conditioning. I want to say a lot of this honestly is a conditioning thing, because it's kind of like who you are underneath layers of conditioning that other people have given you, and how you kind of just like deal with that, you know, like how do you go in a direction that is right for you, that is aligned for you, that is your purpose, your identity, while also still keeping that balance of understanding that you need other people, that you're a socially driven animal, that you need community. And how do those two things work together? You know, how do you have a good balance of that? How do you feel healthy with the duality of that? Or how do you like reckon with that, even is kind of the word I have coming up. So anyway, okay, let's go ahead and get into the tarot portion. First, we have this card, Gates of Heaven. All beings have an ultimate spiritual destiny of happiness and freedom. Beloved Kuan Yin shines tireless compassion upon all life to this end. Yet sometimes attachments, lower vibrational beings, entities, and elementals become frightened of divine love and believe they will do better to hide in human energy fields instead. This blocks progress towards liberation, where human beings and lower vibrational beings can pass through the gates of heaven into peace, bliss, and homecoming to the spiritual source of all life. Sometimes we need to help beings find their way to the light. They can get attached to earthly energies, people, places, or things. Like trying to enter a forbidden city, they attempt to reside where they should not, within the light of the human energy field, rather than progressing spiritually on their own journey through the gates of heaven into a higher consciousness of bliss. Sometimes this happens because although the journey can occur to the consciousness of the lower vibrational being, it doesn't seem possible. You may consciously sense attachments or spiritual presence that is not of highest vibration and needs to be released from your energy field, or you may just feel angry, tired, depleted, or not yourself sometimes. This may be because of old energies that you need to release that do not belong to you, or even from energetic influences that are not a natural part of your energy field and can be released for the greater good of all involved. The healing process below will help you even if you are unaware of the intricacies behind why you're feeling the way you do. You may have just done a clearing, in which case, this oracle is confirmation that it is working. Or if you have recently lost a beloved, this is confirmation that they are passing through and are at peace, but could benefit also from your loving prayers to help them on their way. This oracle may also indicate a psychic skill that you have in helping non physical beings find their way to more peaceful consciousness. If you feel this may be the case, you would perhaps benefit from seeking out training from skilled practitioners who approach this task with love and kindness in their hearts. This oracle is also a message that there is benefit in calling back to yourself all parts of you, that leaving any parts of of you attached to another's energy field out of fear, whether or not they gave you permission or encouragement to do so, is not going to help you grow anymore. The time has come to own your power and no longer seek to enter the forbidden city of another's energy field, and instead seek to pass through the gates of heaven and dwell in the palace of light within your own heart, beloved. Yeah, like I said, it's a time of letting, that's why like Pisces is the very end. It's kind of like that transition from the end to the beginning. Like that's one thing I really like about human design is that that wheel, it blends Pisces into Aquarius because the beginning of the wheel actually technically starts about halfway through Aquarius. So, wait, that's not right. Yeah, that like the end is always giving birth to a beginning anyway, so like it's time to kind of let go of things that are holding you back from that, like I said about that like weighted down kind of energy, and that also that compassion, that humanity that we need to have for others that are struggling to do that same thing. You might find yourself kind of like aiding other people along that process as well. Okay. Then the other card we got is the Mother card, and this is the very first card actually in this archetypes deck. So I thought that was kind of cool as well, talking about the beginning, the end kind of thing again. Okay, the Mother, the Great Mother, the feminine, the source. We begin our archetypal story with the mother's love. Through her sensual, fertile, and life giving energy, all creation takes form. Regardless of our birth story, each of our hearts beat for the first time in the warm womb of the mother, where she offered resources from her body for the building of our own. Yet her tale is not so simple, as the mother, especially on the earthly plane, contains both light and dark aspects of the feminine. With the best of intentions, the mother wraps her loving arms around her creations and begins to grip what she meant to set free. The mother both nurtures and prohibits growth. She gives yet clings. She creates yet restricts. Amid this complex energy, the mother holds the key to the eternal challenge of love. When light, it feels glowing, generative, creative, nurturing. When dark, it feels dim, exhausted, controlling, limiting. Notice how the mother archetype is expressed in nature. This is perhaps the most balanced and benevolent form of the mother's grace. The mother is part of the trifecta maiden mother crone because of the relationship between them. Take special note when these cards appear in one reading. Okay, well, that's weird because as I was like thinking I wanted to draw a card for Mercury retrograde, when I was talking about Mercury retrograde, this card popped out actually. So maybe we should just go ahead and read that as well. Where is it? Flipped right to it. The crone, the witch, the old woman, the sage. The crone has seen it all. Nothing frightens or surprises her. She is the final manifestation in the feminine trifecta of maiden mother crone. In her long life, she's witnessed endless cycles of death, sex, failure, rebirth, conflict, and regeneration, giving her the ability to rise above the world of duality. She laughs at notions of good or bad, right or wrong, as she has seen the earth churning, smoldering, taking life and giving life. The crone energy accepts everything in, devouring beauty and suffering with the same mouth, using their energy to reveal hidden secrets and knowledge. Her energy resides in all of us, though it is feared by most for its powerful and unconventional relationship with death and the macabre. Awakening the crone is dangerously rich and unapologetically magic. When light, it's magic, clairvoyant, psychic, intuitive, wise. When dark, it's vindictive, bitter, isolated, ostracized. The crone is the master of letting go and residing in what is. She rejects nothing. The crone is often seen with the crow, smoke, night, the moon. The crone has a difficult time tolerating superficial, petty, day to day musings. She moves away from such relationships and seeks a deeper path, even if this means a more solitary life. So, again, I'm really seeing this as like the beginning, the end, the passage between the beginning and the end, right? So, like, and kind of like playing into what I said too about that gate of crisis, about like how collectively we've seen a lot of shit. We've been through a lot. We know a lot about our history as a species. Like, how can we how can we kind of like embody that later stage that they talk about like in the crone with what's going on in the world right now? Just a more like wise, mature, feminine perspective on everything of like setting things free that aren't in alignment with us anymore, really understanding and embodying the fact that everything happens for a reason, not letting other things like weigh us down and stop us from starting the things we want to start, the projects we want to do, the identities we want to experience or explore or try on or figure out. So yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know if you liked this better than the way that I've done it in the past. If this, I don't know, whatever. The only other like announcement I have going on is that we have the new moon workshop happening this Friday at Wildroot. So if you're interested in that, go check out my page where you'll find a link to how to register and get signed up for that. That's it. That's all I got. Okay, thanks guys. Bye. Have a great week.